There we go. Welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Sportiest stream, and we have some Black Lion Championship Series action for you tonight. It's nice to see you all. My name is Sporty FC. Welcome everybody. As we do get a couple more people hopefully filing in soon enough. We have an incredible matchup tonight for, once again, the Black Lion Championship Series. This one is Team Ignition versus Flow State. And this is also Stage 2 of the Grand Circuit Winter Invitational Qualifiers. I know, a long name, but you know, it is the Black Lion Championship Series. Great action definitely going to be in front of us as we get this series here. As I've seen both these teams play before. We've seen both these teams. A lot of people know Ignition. They've been on the stream multiple times, although it has been a while since the last time we saw them. And Flow State, we've seen them once. We saw them play against, we saw them play in their, I think, Week 1 matchup in the Black Lion Championship Series. Yeah, their Week 1 matchup in the Premier Series against Wash Champs. They lost that one in a sweep. Nation and Company was a little too strong for him. Ignition, though, the last time we saw them was even before that matchup. Back when they played EV Phoenix late October, and they won that series 3-1. So this is the fourth time that we're going to see Team Ignition playing on this stream. Not the fourth time we've seen this org play. We saw Ignition Academy play once, but this is the fourth time we're going to see this specific team play. And so far, they are 3-3 for wins on the stream, so maybe they can continue that here. As all of their matches on the stream have been for this Invitational Qualifier. We'll see where this takes them, as we are going to get a prediction poll set up for everybody to vote for who you think will win. The poll is about to go live. You don't want to miss it, because this is your chance to gauge and tell me who you think will win this series. Do you think it will be Flow State, or do you think it will be Ignition? Now, based on seeding, Flow State does have that slight advantage, but Ignition came out of groups as one of the top seeds. So there's really not much that separates these teams. I believe they both are also in the same division together as well. I believe they're both in the Premier Series. And Ignition has been having a pretty good start. I think they're 2-0. For Flow State, it has not been nice. Again, we saw them lose earlier in their Week 1 matchup. In Week 2, Flow State took on Team Cat. And as soon as I find out how that matchup went, to assess how Flow State has been, yeah, they are currently 2-1. They beat Aura, they lost to Wash Champs, and then they beat Cat. Ignition, on the other hand, they beat Yukon, and then they beat Aura. So both these teams have played Aura, although for Ignition, they went to Game 5 overtime. Well, their opponents in Flow State only had to go 3-1. So a bit of a separation here. Ignition is the favorite coming in. Not Ignition, sorry. What? Flow State are the favorites coming into this. They auto-qualified into the second stage of the qualifiers. Ignition had to play through stage number 1 of these qualifiers. Has not been as easy a road, although they made it 3-0. They made it look pretty easy coming through. And now in stage 2. Some things could change here. And again, stage 2 now about to go down. Again, we are waiting for both these teams to get themselves ready. Generally in Black Lion, teams wait until like a minute before to join in the lobby, so we will do that here as well. Again, this is Ignition coming into stage 2. They're technically the underdogs, but not by much. They have all the keys to success here if they want to go against Flow State. And what's ironic about this is that they are going to play Flow State later on, because they have them in their next league match as well. Hello, chat. Hello, Brizzle. How you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. Yeah, both these teams into Group B. Ignition listed as the 10th seed. Nope, sorry, the 9th seed, going up against Flow State. This should be a pretty good series. I expect this one to be somewhat close and competitive. So many times in round one you see like massive blowouts from these teams. This should not be one of them. Again, we will see where they come and how they perform. As I actually need to find my chat again to make sure I actually send them their info correctly. There it is. Okay. But again, they are joining. They will be here in just a moment or so. Make sure to vote in those in that prediction poll. It is out coming into the final few minutes of it. But vote with what you with who you think will win this series. This is week 1 of stage 2 of the qualifiers. It's a Swiss stage, so if Ignition wins this, they go 1-0. They play against other 1-0 teams. If they lose, they go up against 0-1 teams. And against this new kind of grouping in stage 2, it's going to be really tough for a team like Ignition coming in from stage 1 to perform up to the level to breeze past stage 2 just like they did stage 1. A new set of competition, a new set of challenges. I would be shocked, frankly, if any of these two teams were able to make it through 3-0, because only 2 teams get to do that, and there's some really solid competition in this bracket. Like if I were to give you some names here of teams that I think have a really strong shot of going 3-0, not to say that they will. The chances are we could see a crazy upset. We could see some teams go crazy, but I mean they got Team Takeover, Yukon is in here as well, HTK is in here, Ethos Blue. New Horizons, there's some really strong teams in here that go 3-0, but a lot of these teams have played, and we saw Ignition beat Yukon actually before 3-1, or 3. We saw them beat them before in their Premier Circuit in week 1, so anything can happen. Ignition definitely can take the fight to Yukon. But why not take the, so they can also then take the fight to Flow State, but Flow State had the better result against Aura, a team that Ignition struggled against, having to take a win in Game 5, just barely scraping away. But that doesn't matter now. This is going to be the team's outings to see each other, as they are both ready. Let's get ourselves in game here. Let's get ourselves ready. It's a best of 5 series. Determine who will start off hotter in round 2, stage 2, week 1. Still a best of 5. Oh, well, that was quick. Yep, it is best of 5. Thank goodness, I just had to ask. And immediately 2 responses come in. Here we go! Flow State on the blue, Ignition on the orange. Massive series. Who wants to get the better start here? Flow State have not played in the qualifiers yet. They got auto-qualified in the round 2, and for a very certain reason, that's the reason why. Off to an early start, Matt down the key, and Ignition already find themselves a bit flustered here, as this pace of Flow State can definitely eat them on their own end of the field. But Ignition, they've been here before. They've been down a couple goals in many of the series I've seen them. They have this weird knack of never failing the fight and always running with the momentum, so one goal from Ignition could completely flip this game, but depends how they get it, and depends how Flow State reacts to it, really. Flow State is not going to make Ignition's life easy. They're not going to make anybody's life easy in this tournament. They, too, want to go and fly through this bracket, get themselves the best seating possible to get to the Invitational. As Sophie, looking off the corner, maybe pass in front for Wall. Off the back wall. Matt doesn't read this, and Frosty will put that one in. And here comes Wall, one of the most impactful players on the field right now. As that one just slightly tipped off the crossbar, and Frosty was coming in to collect. Flow State, they didn't really know if that one was going to bounce its way in, or how it was going to bounce off that wall. They knew it was going to stay close, but they didn't know exactly the bounce it would take, and he couldn't read it in time before Frosty came in to collect. Ignition, now tie at 1-1. And for Flow State, I think the big thing for them right now, if they want to beat Ignition, is to stop Ignition from using momentum, because Ignition are a team that loves to move with the momentum. They are a momentum-based team. Being able to cut that off will be useful! Here comes Matt, doing just that for Flow State. 2-1, they take the lead right back. As you can see, the challenge from Sophie, too slow there. Key has a lot of time to take that ball to his hood and flick it over. And Matt has no issue putting in that follow-up. Flow State once again take a lead. But to hold it, that's already been difficult. As you can see, Sire trying to go for a flip reset. Read very quickly by the Genji substitute. Wall out to Sophie. Doink play off the wall. Well, no, not off that wall, off the back wall. And that's gonna get... I'm surprised that name hasn't been more confusing. Sire out to Matt. This one going towards net. Frosty has to go over his shoulder to get that one. And Wall, too slow to challenge. Flow State score again, and once again, it's Matt catching Ignition napping. As Wall didn't have a sense of urgency here to challenge this, and Matt will just score that every single day of the week. And for Ignition, just seems a bit relaxed from them on their own defensive half. Flow States have no problem jumping in, going guns blazing, because they know Ignition are a bit slow to react to these. Speaking of Ignition, having to play some defense here, Sophie can't get the clear out. Wall dunked away by Sire, going towards the net. Frosty not able to get it on the line. And Sire now making it a 4-1 lead for Flow State. He just gets a massive dunk here. And Frosty was just barely out of reach to get that one. A quick start for Flow State. For Ignition, they never even saw it coming, I don't think. As another dunk from Matt can break through. Flow State trying to control the pace of the play here. Frosty will shoot this one. As Sophie gonna just bomb this one off the ceiling, hoping that Sire can't read this, but he does. Frosty can't get it past Key. Sophie to keep it close down, maybe to Wall, but Wall doesn't have enough boost. Will still going for the challenge. Follow-up potential, but Key is there and waiting. Gets the clear out. Frosty off the back wall. A team bump from Ignition will not allow them to rotate in time. And here comes Sire. 1v2 potential. Trying to fake out both defenders, can't do so. Key down to Matt. Infield, saved by Sophie. Ignition getting a lot of pressure against them here. Very tough for them to break out. That's the one thing that Ignition has to do in a series that they want to win. They need to break out, and they just can't do it. Flow State's too much to handle. Sire, off the infield pass, now makes it 5 for Flow State. Ignition still with 1. Trying to put this game out of reach, trying to put a huge wave of relief over Flow State in this series. Both these teams are right next to each other in the seeding. But Flow State just proving that they are right now a level ahead. Frosty missing that open net. Pop from Sophie won't compute. As Wall looks over 1. And Key now infield, but Frosty trying to get the dunk play. Can't beat Sire. This is what I mean. A lot of winning challenges here from Flow State on that defensive half of Ignition. They're outpacing them. Ignition trying to take this one slowly out of defense, trying to make a counterattack play. But it just isn't working because Flow State is there just to capitalize on any sort of hesitations from Ignition. Key I drop down in front, but no one was there. Sire's stopped moving. We'll have to see if that might be a connection issue. But nonetheless, Flow State is up by 4, so even if Sire does find himself with controller issues, maybe even with connectivity issues, I think Flow State will still have a very good shot at winning this. Key trying to just waste out some time here for Flow State. Sophie off the back wall. Matt will clear, and yeah, there goes Sire. He's lost his connection. We will still be playing this game on, but before game 2, we'll make sure that he can connect back into the lobby. Wall. Flip reset. He does get it, too. Dunk play in front for Sophie to score. Ignition get one late. And while Flow State is down to only 2 defenders, is it too little too late? There's just under a minute remaining. Sire will be joining back at any moment, I assume. Ignition have to make the most out of the situation. It's a weird one, to say the least, but you know, that's how the rules work in this Black Line Championship Series matchup. Sophie. They'd be looking for one off the ceiling. Dunk under Matt. Frosty to clean up. And that one off the post and in. Frosty making it look a little more difficult than it had to be. But all of this play stems from Sophie threatening that touch off the ceiling, forcing both defenders to jump against them. And Frosty just comes in to clean up. Ignition trying to take this game back, trying to make it tied up, potentially. 44 seconds remaining. Another kickoff win for Ignition. That's going to put Flow State immediately onto defense. Sophie wins this challenge. Potential pass in front, but no one there from Ignition. Sophie trying to get the flick by Key. 50-50's wall. Final 30 seconds. Can Flow State hang on? Matt. Second touch definitely going to happen here. Beating Sophie to it. Wall. Gives it to himself, but it's exactly what Flow State want him to do. They want the ball to stay in that orange half. As 2 players demoed out. Frosty, back wall. Follow-up, doesn't get it. Sophie coming in, seeing that they can get one more goal. As Sire, he is back. And he should be able to help Flow State secure the win here. As Ignition, even with Flow State, one of the players disconnecting, it doesn't matter. They take game 1 by a massive margin as well. 3 goals. Usually for a lot of teams, when they have to beat Ignition, it can come from small leads and holding them, but not for Flow State. They came out, they showed up in game 1. They're trying to make this series quick here against Ignition. Flow State, one of the teams expected to make it through. Obviously, they're one of the top 8 seeds, but they gotta continue proving it in this series. As we are about to move on to game 2. Ignition, so many teams after this moment want to take that break. They want to take as much time as possible to reset, but not Ignition. They want to go immediately into their next game. A bold strategy from them, say the least. But that is their strategy. They want to come back in. They want to play this game. They want to play this series. They want to continue fighting against Flow State here. Does Ignition lose their first series on this stream? We've asked that question of them before. They've always answered with a no, but at some point they are going to find themselves losing. Will Flow State hand them that first one? Sophie. Drop down to Frosty. Frosty. Potential pass in front to Wall. Gonna keep that streak going for Ignition. Again, they've played 3 series so far. Have not lost a single one on this stream. But against Flow State, this is going to be the toughest competition we've seen them play yet. As Wall. Drop in front for Frosty. That will be back post and in. Great shot from Frosty. His shooting was amazing last game. This one really well placed as well. Off of Wall, just continuing to have tenacity. And to fight for that one to pop in front for Frosty. They'll stay down early, but knowing them, they'll find a way to break through that defense. They are a team that can score a lot of goals. Matt, though, bumps out of the way, trying to reach Sophie. But Sophie misses the ball instead, so Matt gonna thank his lucky stars a little bit there. All 3 players are Flow State on that front post. Need to be careful in that position. As Frosty, one really well-placed touch, and that could have beaten all 3 of them. Maybe organized Flow State. Frosty, maybe second touch will beat past one. Sophie, in front post! And that couldn't have been placed any better, and it had to have been placed that well. That was guarded still, even with Frosty getting the bump on Matt. He was still there. He had most of that net covered. Sophie had to finish that one perfectly, and she did. Ignition now lead 2-0 in game 2. Frosty wins the kickoff, but Matt the clear. Wall off the sidewall, maybe to himself, can't reach it in time. As Frosty's coming in the early challenge. Ignition trying to challenge earlier on these plays, trying to cut off Flow State and what they did so well on their own offensive side. As Wall, looking off the back wall, hasn't been guarded very well for Flow State. And a mistake there almost cost them another one. Key off his own back wall. Wall's up quickly. Down for Sophie. 3 players commit out of Flow State. But they survive, and that's all that really matters for them. But now, getting the ball out of their half, that's a different question entirely. Wall, I'm going to say that there's still a chance here for Ignition, but it does feel like they're on a losing battle here. Key with the air dribble. And now, Sire demoed away. Matt will collect. Being chased down by Wall. Sophie. I don't think I got to pass out to Wall, but Matt was waiting there. Key demoing out Wall himself. Sire and Sophie both miss. Wall's last, but Key's shot is off target. Who knows if he was looking for Sire on the back wall there to see if he could drop it down, but nevertheless, Flow State still not scoring yet in this game. They're close, though. You feel that it will come at any moment. Ignition just going to hold on defense here. Frosty pinches it and will follow through. Ignition gets some time to get some boost to recollect themselves, but right back to defense they go. Sophie over one. Sophie with the dribble play on Matt, trying to get that flick play, but he was smart to watch out. But Wall! Nobody saw him coming through. And the captain of Ignition now, making this a 3-goal differential. Ignition trying to do to Flow State what Flow State did to them last game. And that's beat them down. So far, teams, it seems like both games have been pretty polar. This shot's good, and that will go in. Sophie will not be able to reach that one over her shoulder, as Matt just catches this one off a kickoff very well. And he sees that the net actually is surprisingly undefended. Besides, why not go for it? There's Ignition now. Their lead cut down to 2. And here comes Sophie with the dribble play. Beats past Matt, but Matt gets just enough on it. Frosty off the back wall. As Flow State now, 2 players touch the ball. Matt has no boost, but Ignition doesn't know that Matt tried to get a pass in front for Sire, couldn't reach him in time. Frosty. And he cleared out. He overslid that one as well, so couldn't get back to it in time, but Ignition still have offense. Matt guarding the back wall. And I think we've seen Ignition test multiple times. The shooting from Sophie's testing the net, and the crossbar saves them, but not for long. Wall scores again. And he doesn't shoot a lot. He's only got 2 shots, but he scored both of them. What you would call maybe the cleanup crew for Ignition. Another goal. Add to Ignition's tally. Are they adding more? Final 100 seconds. Is Ignition still not out of the woods here? We saw them last game very nearly make a massive comeback in the final minute. Now, that was with Flow State only playing with 2 players for that moment as one of them was disconnected, but still, knowing Flow State, they can come back at any moment. Ignition have to be on guard. Sophie maybe looking for one more goal from Wall. That one saved by Key. And Flow State trying to transition quickly here, but Sophie cuts them off just a little bit. Just to waste a little bit of time out of Flow State. And time, that matters. Flow State need goals. They need them fast. And they need them soon. Wall, off the back wall, in for Frosty. Ignition continuing to find the kryptonite of Flow State. Just being that back wall coverage. They don't cover it very often or very well. The only player that ever seems to really frequent that spot would be Matt, and he's not always there. Sometimes he's guarding that net instead. For Ignition, though, what Flow State have done really well is they've been able to do stuff like this. A drop down to Key, and Key puts it in the back of the net. Flow State here with a magnificent 2-man passing play that completely baffles Ignition. They've been able to outpace Ignition to a lot of aerials, but that one will result in a goal. Ignition so close to a Game 2 victory, but still out of reach. Still not out of reach for Flow State, although that goal might be the one to be the nail in the coffin. 30 seconds as Sophie destroys Sire on that kickoff, and Frosty doesn't have too much work to do there. Just put it on target, and it'll be a goal. Ignition, after a pretty terrible Game 1 start for them, losing by 3 goals, and having the embarrassment of having to lose to a 2-3 at some points. They're going to try to make sure that they secure this game, but Flow State is mounting a comeback here. Ignition got a little too confident in their plays on offense. What matters for them right now is defense, making sure that Flow State doesn't get chances like those. They don't have to score anymore for Ignition. All they have to do is make sure that net stays clean, stays defended. Flow State, though, trying to cut them off to that wall upfield. Will dunk out Key and bump him as well. Wall still on the ball here, looking for a dunk play on Sire. Sophie off the corner, in front, potentially for Frosty, but this one just straight to Wall, saved by Key. Sire, out to the corner, doesn't matter for Flow State. Even if they get a goal here, this game will be Ignition's. As Sire will keep it up, but Wall will let it drop off of Key's touch there. Ignition tie up the series 1-1, but it didn't look as confident there, especially at the end. Flow State were just continuing to do what Flow State does, continue to string up plays, and continue to try to outpace Ignition. That's what they're trying to do here on offense. They're trying to outpace Ignition. I know Ignition isn't the fastest one to respond to some of these touches, and so long as they're faster than Ignition, they can get goals and get them in plentiful numbers. But for Ignition, they know that back wall is left undefended here from Flow State. And I'm sure they're going to continue to utilize that weakness to their advantage until Flow State is able to cover it up. Game 3 we go. To determine who will have the chance to win this series, the privilege to win this series in Game 4. Does Ignition have more energy to continue to fight Flow State, or do Flow State put themselves on top? For Ignition, what really helped them last game, what really springboarded their start, was an early goal, as Frosty almost gets one there. Key, with some space, Wall is not really challenge him, it's going off the back wall, left there for Key! Oh, it's off the bar and out! So close from Key! Sophie, left, sitting flat-footed in their net. And Flow State so nearly was able to put a banger of a shot in. What a tremendous start to Game 3 that would have been there. But Ignition survived by the woodwork. Is Key given some space, but not from Wall. Out to Sophie. Won't beat Matt out to this one. Yes, from Frosty. Wall will flick play this one. It will be Flow State's back onto that orange half. Wall letting it out. Sophie ready to respond and ready to follow. Ignition, I like this chemistry that they have going right now out of defense. Against a team that can really make you nervous, like Flow State. You would expect teams like this just to kind of clear the ball out heavily. But no, they're still looking for each other out of defense. As Frosty, that one almost a little bit too far in front of Wall. Frosty, no shot there. But Sophie's up, dropped down, won't go in. Matt to clear. Wall to intercept. And a bump out. Key, but Matt looking for the redirect. Sophie almost thought she missed it there with that play, having to go behind themselves. Sophie out to Wall. Wall. He had a clear, but that's straight to Sophie. Sophie wants to use that side wall, but Sire read that play through and through. Double commit from Flow State. Sophie looking to bump out Matt. Matt was able to avoid him. Frosty. Air dribble play, potentially. Maybe a dunk on Sire. You see Matt jumping too, so Sophie has to be careful. She hits it off the back wall, and immediately looking to get a demo. Wall shot off the crossbar. In comes Frosty. Can't finish it through. Wall, infield, but Sophie not there to beat out Sire. This one will drop down. Sophie doesn't like the position of this, but Wall, he'll get the clear. And for once in a game, we haven't had a lot of goals scored. Sophie. Oh, I cursed it. I cursed it. You know, as soon as I say that there's going to be not a lot of goals scored, Sophie just puts in this one. Or more rather, Sire put in this one off of that touch from Sophie off the back wall. Unfortunately for Flow State, that goal will give Ignition the lead. With there not being a lot of chances for Flow State this game, they have to start generating some offense. Frosty, double tap to Wall. Wall will try to use that backboard to his advantage, but can't do so. Up goes Sophie. Back in touch. Not going to beat Key, but Key doesn't make the touch. Key expected Sophie to get that one there. Sophie commanding trust and respect out of her opponents as Wall. Double tap, trying to make some trust for himself, but Sire waits on the line. Sophie now trying to do a double tap. It was going to roll down. Sophie was reading that one. A necessary touch from Key. And now Sire beating Wall. Net is looking somewhat open. Key off the back wall. Sophie is up to that one. Lightning speed. And Wall will clear. Ignition keeping their back line strong, but for how much longer? you can't expect them to shut out Flow State. Flow State, a team with such a strong offense, shut them out would be, well, quite the result from Ignition, a resounding success for them, but they're still looking just to get another goal to try to put this game as far out of the way for Flow State as possible. Wall, off the sidewall, will bump out the last defender, and Sophie will clean up in that open net. Wall seems to be taking a step back in this game. Instead of going for shots, instead of going like he does in a lot of the other series that we've seen him, instead of going for these highlight plays, he goes for the passes, he goes for the bumps, he does the dirty work that Ignition needs to get these goals. In so many games, I consider him like the clutch playmaker for this team, where he makes the incredibly strong saves and goals. But in this game, he's the one who's literally making the clutch playmaker. He is making all the assists. Sire, one-on-one with Frost, he can flick over him. Wall will try to cut that one off early, and we'll get a shot to the back wall. Key misses. In comes Sophie. Out for Frosty, and that net is left open. And what a selfless play from Sophie here. She could have very easily just shot that one and could have scored on Matt, but instead knows Frosty's behind her, and instead just hits it off the back wall, knowing that there's no way that the Flow State defender can save that one. Ignition now lead by 3 in Game 3. Sire, dribble play, under Wall, Key will shoot, Key will score. Bit of miscommunication from Ignition. Wall wasn't so trustworthy on Frosty being able to actually get that touch. And he jumps over the ball instead. Key will have no issue scoring that. And once again, Flow State trying to mount a late game comeback. Not going to be easy for this team, but it is not something that is impossible. 3 goals, very doable in a minute. Key. Clear out to Matt. Ignition, though, what they have to do is they have to make sure to shut down these plays early from Flow State. Play fast. Whenever they get that chance to clear it out, they have to utilize it. They've done very well at that, but in this final minute, matters even more so. Because Flow State will take advantage of Ignition's weaknesses, Ignition's hesitations, if they ever feel maybe a little bit nervous. Flow State will utilize that as Key off the back wall. And a follow-up from Sire, not really coming in that quickly. Ignition have so much time to wait, but not that much time, because in comes Key. Less than 20 seconds remaining. Flow State only need 1 more goal. As Sire, all eyes were on him, but the real threat was Key coming in to get that follow through and score. Less than 20 seconds. Ignition, can they hold this one off? Wall. Bring it up. Frosty doesn't make the touch here. He goes under Sire, but Key has to clear out. No, looking for Matt. Matt drop down to Key potentially. That touch won't be favorable for Key. Wall gonna try to waste up as much time as possible with this air dribble. And a 50-50. Still up for Flow State. Frosty will let it drop. Will 50-50 it to drop. Ignition 1 game away from winning round 1 in this Swiss stage. Technically, it would be an upset if they beat out Flow State here. But knowing how these teams play, it's still anyone's series. Flow State, if they get a better start, I could see them winning this next game. The problem was they started so late, it took them until the final minute to get goals. And that against Ignition is just too much time. Ignition will break you down if you give them 4 minutes where they can score. You need to be able to score on them early, really shut them down. They're a team that can struggle to get back in games. But they have that tenacity. That's one of the things that I admire about Ignition, is that they have that ability to fight back. Still though, if you're Flow State, an early lead is preferable, especially here when the series is on the line. Frosty beaten out by Matt, but sitting back, Key looking in front. Frosty will hit it up high to himself. He misses this, but lucky enough for him, Sophie and Wall are there together. But Wall, what kind of a play was that? I think Ignition was going for a team pinch. But at this point in the series, I don't know if Sophie was ready for that. I think Wall was calling that team pinch too late. I mean, that's from me. I have no clue what they're saying in the team comms, but it looked like Wall and Sophie were on completely different wavelengths there. And a gift for Flow State. But they would love that. I said it, they needed an early lead. They got their early lead. Frosty Pass out to Wall. Over one. Saved by Key on the back line. And Frosty's going in to look for a demo. Sophie off the sidewall. Double in front, but Frosty's backwards. He can't get that shot. Wall. Second touch potential. That one a little off target. Seeing if Sophie can follow up. This one to Wall. Still trying to put in challenges Ignition, but not a lot of boost. You really can't win much. Sophie. Tap out to Frosty, off the ball. Sophie, a double demo, but Wall, that touch is not what he wanted. He wanted to shoot that one. Ignition had a chance there. Sophie got 2 players removed from the field on the side of Flow State. The net was actually open. Well, it was no easy shot for Wall. It is one that he could score with his caliber, but it's no problem here. Back the other way. In comes Sophie, but it's Frosty's pass here. High lob, slow play, forces Key to sit back. And watch as Sophie comes in and puts her shot into the back of the net. Ignition tie this one up. All about if they can run with this momentum. Flow State. They too can amass a massive lead, so this game could still have a lot of ways to go. Wall. Off the back wall. In comes Frosty to try to clear this one. Had a little bit more space. Flow State, I think, is sitting further back now. Waiting for Ignition to clear the ball out because Ignition, sometimes they pass the ball out, but sometimes they just boom it. That is something that Flow State could wait on and could try to take advantage of. As Frosty out to Sophie. Sophie was maybe looking for a pass back to Wall, but Wall wasn't there. Wall. Another touch. Sophie off the corner. Wall looking for a demo play, but Sire avoids him. Key out to the orange corner. Sophie misreads it, but Wall does not. And Wall may have actually called that one last second. That might be why Sophie didn't go for it. Good call from him. He has the better angle on that play. Frosty looking up for Sophie. Double tap? No, it's stopped by Sire. That back wall from Flow State covered up a lot better this game. Ignition aren't getting so many touches for free off that thing. If they continue making improvements like that, Flow State could see them doing well. But Sophie just pre-jumped that play. Now, I don't know if you saw that one on my screen, but Sophie most definitely jumped early. Expected that play to come in. Wall, light touch. Net is looking open here, but Key is off target. And Frosty says, thank you very much. I will take that touch and I'll waste some time. Allow my team to get back. Matt looking in front, but Wall's to clear. Frosty looking to play Enforcer. And that one off the post. And oh, it's off the post again from Frosty. Sophie jumps late. Wall gets dunked out by Matt. Flow State almost caught with their pants down as they were scrambling back to defense. Happy that that shot's not in. But Frosty, this one, looking to shoot at the net. Key is there. Most first shots from these teams will not go into the net. Sophie's awkward. Incoming Key, I don't think she saw him. If he got that touch, definitely would have been a surprise for Ignition. As there was Wall as well back, but he was also jumping up in the air. Flow State trying to play a bit creative here. Sire towards the orange net, saved by Wall. For teams, it's about getting a series of shots, about getting possession, about getting pressure, and about not making mistakes. As you head into the final minute of gameplay, it's all tied at 1-1. Matt on target. Frosty was getting harassed. He still makes the save. Flow State. Pressure mounting on them. They need to score here. Sophie in front. Wall. The clutch player for this team. Getting a clear out that saves Ignition. Ignition, though, stuck on defense. Frosty. Oh, he almost got dunked by Matt. But Wall here will clear it past Sire. Sire. Can't get as far as Sophie. Key off the sidewall, but Frosty's coming in. Potential to shoot this one. Was going to try to go for the fake instead. Bump out one. Wall off the sidewall. Sophie doesn't want to challenge this one. Has very low boost. You can see she has 0. One off the corner. In front for Frosty. And Ignition right back at the blue half. Who will get that last chance? Who will get that goal? Will it even happen in regulation? Matt. To Sire. Second touch potential. Oh, and just going for the play himself is Sire. Why not? Might as well see if we can end off this game in style. Matt to clear. Ignition. I want to let this one drop, but they have to keep it in the air just for a little bit longer. That one still up for Flow State, but that one from Sire will not go anywhere. Well, it will amass to nothing. Ignition They win. They score next. They win the series. They move to round 2. Wall. Second touch towards the blue net. Matt is able to read it. Flow State must win here. Wall. Took as much time as he needed to get that touch. Sophie. Gonna break through the defense. It's Matt. Flick play. Flow State. Continuing to improve in this game. And it seems like it's only a matter of time before they score. Ignition, though. Can they get a surprise goal first? Sophie. Back wall. Double tap. Almost goes in. We're seeing some crazy double tap plays here at the end of this game. None in yet to win it. As Sire beats past Sophie, but not past Wall. All about boost control, I think, at this overtime. If you can starve out your opponents, you'll find a lot more success that way. Key beats past Wall, but Sophie's last. Wall is up. Can't beat Sire. And Sire knows he's there. Infield for Frosty, though. That shot is off target. A chance for Ignition. Squandered by Frosty there. As Sire past one. Ignition need to keep their rotations close here if they want to beat Flow State. Flow State are a speedy team. Matt getting back wall. Saved by Wall. And his follow-up going towards the net. Sophie almost turned away from that one. Was not expecting that ball to go straight towards her own net. But there it is. This shot, though, will go in from Matt. And we are heading to Champions Field. Ignition, I told you, it was only a matter of time before I see Flow State scoring. And they're able to do so as Matt gets a free touch off that back wall. Ignition's defense finally cracks apart. Flow State wins this one, and for now, we go to Champions Field, the last game of the series. And this will decide who will start off on top. For Ignition, there's no must-win games in this bracket right now, but you'd think if they want to really scare the teams above them, this would be a good series to take. Is right now playing against Flow State. Flow State, on the other hand, they're the favorites, and they have the momentum here. They're able to hold Ignition to having to play a lot of defense. Really, as long as they score first for Flow State, they have a very good control of this game. But for Ignition, they can throw a wrench in that situation if they are able to get their offense running. And the wheels turning, the gears spinning. Game 5. First time we've seen Ignition here on this stream. Must win for them. And they did just go to Game 5 recently against Aura. They were able to win that series in overtime. It was no easy result against Aura. A highlight series last week, but now in this one, a tough opponent as well. As Ignition right now starting off with some offense. Flow State cannot let up their pressure. Both teams need to play prime gameplay if they want to beat their opponents. Key looking in front, he'll just get hit himself, but Wall is waiting. Wall under one, dribble play potential. That touch will elude Sophie. Frosty's waiting back, but he has to watch out for Key. He'll still beat him. Matt is last one there. Sophie went for the dunk play. Wall. Oh yeah, I thought he almost over-aggressed there. This one off the back wall. Open for Key, and Key will score. A missed rotation from Ignition. Did you see Wall get this touch here, and Frosty, instead of jumping for this one, kind of waits on his line. That's a ball that Ignition does have to challenge. You cannot let anything free off that back wall, or else Flow State are just going to win it. And Flow State have done very well at guarding that back wall in Game 4. They didn't let much get through. For Ignition, though, down by 1 against a team that is great with holding the lead. Wall, maybe pinch in front. This one will go out to Sophie, will get past Key, but Key's early challenge will force her to have to play a little more of a scenic route, but scenic route will still work. And the speed from Frosty at this situation every step of the way. And he just destroys, he dusts out the defenders on Flow State. Ignition tie it back to 1. And now no team has a lead. We're back at a 0-0 standstill, essentially. Frosty will beat past Matt. Incoming is Wall. Looking off the corner. Matt looking for a demo on Sire, but everybody on Flow State's seen that story before. Sophie waiting back will Get one. We'll get a second one as well. That's past the defenders. Matt is awkward. Frosty will tap it in. And it's Flovi this game, trying to prove an MVP performance late in the series. That double tap, she had just enough boost to get there. And it was all that mattered. Frosty was able to put in a relatively simple shot. He's hit those before. Ignition now have the lead, but the question is for how long? Because Flow State are going to be knocking at that door. They want this game back in their hands. Sire in front for Matt. Potential to win it there, but not yet. Frosty got a save there. I don't know how he got that. A double commit though from Ignition. Key. Last one is Sophie. This one towards Sire. And Flow State will score. Ignition, a double commit on their own line from Frosty and Wall. An error that Flow State will capitalize on. It's those small errors from Ignition that Flow State can take advantage of. It's those small errors from Flow State that Ignition can take advantage of. Both teams not separated by much, but the errors definitely can be a massive moving point in the series. Matt off the corner, but there's Wall. He had some time to dribble out, but instead tried to see if he could put that one in the blue half. Key looking in front, and he got one touch too many there. Matt was hoping he just would leave it be, let him shoot it. It's Frosty now trying to dribble past Sire, can't do so. Key sidewall, second touch towards the orange net, and that does force two Ignition players to jump. This one, saved by Sophie. No savior award, though. Frosty. Instant front from Sire. Sophie, once again, being called on to make a very crucial touch out of defense here from Wall. And now Sophie taking it back. Pressure mounting as both teams very close to each other. There's not much separating them. This one up from Matt. Second touch? No, he doesn't get it. Ignition will pinch this one, but not that far away. Key and try to follow up here on Wall. Wall doesn't challenge this. Will instead fake it, let Frosty take this one out. Very dangerous, though. Flow State was willing to jump on that one in front of the net. Wall will clear this, though. Ignition starting to just play the clear game. That's a game that I think Flow State can win. Not by putting in strong goalies, but by putting on overwhelming aggression. This one in front, Sophie to hit it out. And she has a lot of control here. To Wall, a musty flick. Does Wall end this one? Down to Frosty. Double commit from Flow State. But Ignition, everybody pushed up. But it's missed from Flow State. The follow-up from Matt's also missed. Flow State really should be scoring those. At the end of Game 5, those are the moments you might be thinking about. If Ignition's able to take this series. Matt. Sophie. Back towards her own side. Wall wasn't expecting that one. Cleared away to Sophie. Sophie, zero boost. Will take the corner boost, though. And bump out Sire. Key. Last one back to Matt. Wall. Behind Sophie there, but Sophie had the decision of making going for the boost instead. This one in front, dunked away. Was worried from Frosty there. He was a bit slow to getting to that one, but still makes the touch. In front, Frosty to clear it. Ignition. Only need one chance, but will he even get that chance? An own goal! I believe that's an own goal from Ignition. Heartbreaker in the last couple seconds here. The Sire shot just goes in. It's Sophie to shoot on her own net. She's been playing so well this game. She set up both the goals, but that one might be all that you remember from this series. Ignition trying to find a way back. Frosty misses his shot there. Ignition does an own goal end their run in this series. Sophie looking for another chance, but Ignition's been playing so much defense. All I need to drop. For Flow State, they win this series. 4-2. Game 5. And it did come down to that own goal from Sophie. A moment she'd like to forget. But I know that Flow State are very thankful to have. It took 5 games, but eventually they do win the series, and for Ignition, their win streak on this stream ends here. Flow State, that will end this one. Taking 2 games in a row against Ignition. A great result for them. Flow State, well, they're going to be happy with that. And that will literally end the stream here. A great series, though. We went to Game 5. It went the distance. But ultimately, Flow State played their hearts out. And that one, well, that will end this stream. We are going to end the stream here again. Thank you so much for joining. Make sure to pay attention to that Twitter at SportioCRL to look for more matches to come. Oh, thanks, Trendy, as well. It was a great series.